Hello, this is Blake LeVine, and today I want to share a beautiful and brilliant discussion about achieving your goals and dreams. As a youth growing up in New York, I had the opportunity to meet over 4,000 notables and celebrities, people such as Madonna, Tom Cruise, Michael Jackson, George Bush, Bill Clinton, and thousands of top notables in the fields of music, entertainment, sports, writing, and business. What I found from meeting all of these incredible achievers is that there are people in our world that actually accomplish some of the most incredible and hard to do tasks. And whether this be as an actor who wins Academy Awards and is in top box office smashes, or it's a musician that plays concerts at some of the biggest venues all over the world, or maybe it's a business person that builds a huge unicorn sized company, which means $1 billion valuation. And whatever these people have done in their life, somehow they got right that they achieved an incredible amount of accomplishments. So after meeting and being around these people, what you say to yourself, who you surround yourself is often what is likely to become of your life. That is a very common talk in different books and educated videos and learnings from speakers over the last 100 years, that the people you circle yourself with give you a chance to be more like what they are. And if, let's say, all 10 of your closest friends and associates are incredibly successful, wealthy, and things like that, you're more likely to be in that level of earnings and achievement. And I want to say to you today that what I found from these different notables in my study, later getting a master's degree in social work and working for many years doing psychological lessons that have been part of a study to try to figure out how to help my own life as well as those I work with through books and audios and a startup, and even films and documentaries and shows. So what I found about achievement at that level is that it can come in all different ways. So for example, to be clear, it is sometimes more likely that the person was born into it. So when I see Angelina Jolie, and her dad is a legendary actor, Jon Voight, who's been a top movie star for many years, or I see Michael Douglas, whose dad, Kirk Douglas, was a long-time Hollywood hero and one of the most famous actors to ever live. And I won't go on through many others, but some of them were born into royalty, sort of say, in the sense that they were from a family that had high levels of success. So however it worked out, in fact, with Michael Douglas, I read that it wasn't always easy. And at some point in his life, he was a producer, producing movies, and at some part of the journey, he got into acting and ended up becoming a top movie star. And I'll share a funny story. I was making an independent film and was casting for the project, and I put the project out to all the agents and managers. And they have a company called the Breakdown Services that lets projects being cast find talent. And I got all kinds of submissions, I think about 500 or 800 resumes with photos of actors. And in there were very famous names of people that it was their dad or grandfather that was a star. I remember one, his grandfather was Dean Martin. And Dean Martin is one of the most famous stars ever. He's from something called the Rat Pack, which, if you don't know and you're younger, there was a group that was the most famous singers of a day, and they were all together. They used to go to Vegas and party, and they were known for how Vegas became famous. It was Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., Dean Martin, and a few others. And they were this incredibly popular, successful group. And this was his grandson. I had never heard of his name and didn't know many of his projects. And he hadn't yet achieved many studio films. So what I say is, even though some of those people had success through family that was already in the industry, others did not. They didn't make it to the level at all. And maybe they went in a different path, which could be better. And I'll share something interesting. I have a coach that worked with me. I actually spoke to him this summer, a really kind man. His name is Randy Spelling. And his father, Aaron Spelling, was one of the top producers of films and TV projects for many years. He had at one point, I think, the biggest mansion in the U.S. called the Manor in Beverly Hills, in Holmby Hills. And Aaron Spelling, if you were from a certain day, you would know all the TV shows because he had like 20 top ones that he was involved in creating. And his son did do some acting and things like that, but later became a life coach and author. And I had the opportunity to have a couple of virtual sessions where he supported as a coach, giving me some ideas and lessons and tools. It was really helpful. So even with that, if you have a family that's done one thing, maybe your path becomes different. And I want to say that to you, that there's that one group that's already sort of family that has been in that industry. And then there's a whole new group in terms of many of the stars and achievers I met that came up on their own. You hear this, they came up on the hard streets. I think a lot about some of the rappers I met, and they maybe didn't come from that. When I met Notorious B.I.G. or some of these other rappers, not all of them were enmeshed in a group that was very rich or very famous or very high achiever, but there was something about that person that they knew they wanted to develop their gifts, develop their ideas, their knowledge, their skills, and their talent, and they had the courage to actually go out and try to achieve. So that's what I found is being a success in your journey, is having the courage and confidence to say, I'm going to try. And I want to share, my daughter actually has played sports, and even when she was new to it, she was willing to try. So she wanted to have fun and learn, and I gave her a lot of credit. She picked a new sport because I was a baseball player and a tennis player. I played high school tennis for a year, and I played middle school. I was on the school team for baseball. I was really a serious practitioner with baseball. I was playing 5 to 8 hours a day and wanted to be a professional. So it was something I was focused on. A day-to-day would really work out. And my daughter, she didn't want to, though. I asked her at 2 or 3, do you want to, play softball every day or practice different sports? She said, no, Dad, it's not. So I let her not do that. But what I found is that different people have different skills that they love and that they learn. And even after a few years of not wanting to play sports every single day, my daughter did choose to, with a friend, join a team of lacrosse, and she played, and she did lovely. She was a wonderful athlete and became part of her journey. So I'm happy that she had the courage and confidence to say, I'm going to finally decide this is something I want, do my best, and try. And I, as a dad, chose early on to give her the choice. Do you want to be an athlete that does 5-6 hours a day with me and works to be whether it's number one on your college team, getting a scholarship, or going to training and maybe being a professional? She didn't. That wasn't something she wanted. So that's another thing I learned too. Even like Michael Jordan, I read and learned about his journey. Michael Jordan, you should know, was with Nike and his sneakers and his brand Air Jordans, became the greatest basketball player ever. And in his journey, it wasn't always simple or easy. At a certain point, he got very, very serious about basketball. He was playing and practicing every day. Even this, he felt that height was a big part of being able to achieve being in the NBA. And he kind of worked on his legs growing, which doesn't seem likely. If I say, hey, I'm going to do this and grow 6 inches, it's sort of not something they teach about, but maybe it could work. And he eventually tried to grow himself. He would hang on things and do stuff, and he grew several inches. I think he's about 6'3", which makes him within the realm of what many of the NBA players are. And he got into college, and I think he played for University of North Carolina and did incredibly well. And then he went to the Bulls, and even that too, I used to watch him because I had season tickets for the Knicks with my family growing up. And when Chicago would play the New York Knicks, he would often in the fourth quarter go wild and win the game. So maybe for the first couple of quarters, he was okay. He'd get a basket here or miss one. He was great, but he wasn't impeccably perfect. And in the fourth quarter, he was. Whatever went on with his brain, he was in the zone. And I say that to you. Maybe you have a gift. Maybe you have a light, and when you can, get in that zone and find a way to achieve it. And also not knock yourself down if it doesn't work, but figure out how to get better at building. How to say to yourself, I'm going to find success because I believe I have gifts and abilities. And I want to share this with you too. Walking with my daughter and sharing that, there can be things for you. Maybe you didn't love school, or maybe you didn't love sports, or you didn't love acting, or you didn't love making books or making a business, but you sort of at some point in your life wanted to be more of an achiever it is never too late to start on that and to build something better. Maybe you want to get a higher paying job. Maybe you want to build a side business. Maybe you say, hey, now I'm really ready. I look at my life and I want to be more. You can do that. It's not over. In fact, some people in a year can do it. Some people in 6 months, some people in 3 years, some people later in life. I talk about this in other videos about Colonel Sanders, and he built KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, later in his life. So wherever you are, whatever age you are, whatever path you've had before, if you're feeling up to it, you can try to say to yourself, I'm willing to see if there's success for what I want now. In fact, saying to yourself now is really helpful because maybe 10 years ago you played on your high school team, or maybe 15 years back you had a job and it had a pretty good salary, or maybe 8 years ago you had a store and it was doing okay, or maybe you had a job, you worked in fast food and you did those hours, or last year I was a Lyft driver and I made some money, but not at this point. That time is now concluded. So today, I want to be present in the moment. And where can I press for my path to bring prosperity, peace, and to practice getting better at what I'm building today? So that's what I share with you. What can you build today? Maybe you're in school, you want to listen 10% more and bring your grades up a little. Maybe you're in a job, and even if it's not exactly what you want to get through it and say, hey, I'm still making that money coming in daily or weekly. Maybe you're a driver, a delivery person, Instacart, Uber Eats, Lyft, Uber for driving, whatever it is, Amazon. Maybe today you say, hey, I'm making some money and I'm here. And I'm finding myself feeling that the force of life wants me to learn to like my life, to say, hey, I'm grateful that I am a good person, that I'm trying, that even though we all have things that are not perfect, we have tried our best to hang on and to hold on. And each of us have been through COVID, have been through challenges, adversity, and struggles. And you, yes, you are a success, you are an achiever, you're a listener, you're a learner, and you're someone that life likes. I was hearing something in my religious school that I went to, and they said, don't believe that whatever negative thoughts or ideas you get, that's the enemy working against you. And I say that. You have support. You are wonderful. Whatever you believe, you could be a Christian, a Catholic, Jewish, Muslim, any religion. Maybe you're an atheist, a Kabbalah believer, or maybe you're a Scientologist. Focus on your own view of life, but know from my path of accepting all people, I respect you, I honor you, and I know you have light in your life. You've had lessons, and you've tried to help heal. That's one of the things we deal with many times in all these journeys, meeting these top legendary people, as well as in my own path, writing a number of books and doing many things. It is about saying, I am okay, but I will accept there's been challenges, there's been struggles, and maybe through all of that, they say that the life and the cards that you were dealt in your life, how did you handle them? How did you feel? If your things happened that were out of your control or your power, how do you face it? How do you experience it? If you were in Ukraine and that happened to your city, or if you're in Russia and something bad happened, whatever it is it your fault? And I don't believe that. In fact, that's one of the things I want to teach about right now. Many of the holistic books that I learned about and teachers, they talk about energy, which is wonderful, and building energy. They also talk about believing what could happen or what will happen. And I don't believe many people that face terrible tragedies were envisioning it, or they were seeing or saying, oh, this is going to happen. But sadly and seriously, throughout the history of the world, well before we got here, there were all types of things, whether it be wars, droughts, famines. These types of tragedies have happened since the beginning of experience that we know. So it's not your fault. Whatever negative you have experienced, it is not you. You are a beautiful, wonderful, terrific, and incredible human being. And whatever you achieve, because that's one of the best lessons I had to figure out when I worked with that coach I shared about. He said, everybody has their own path, and you can't focus on what someone else's path was because it's completely different. And you're never going to understand what they felt. So I took that into my mind when I heard that. I said, what did those movie stars feel? They're this top star making $30 million a picture, but there's so much going on. So maybe it wasn't always easy. It looked glamorous. It looked great. But maybe there was challenges and struggles. And then there was glory. There were moments that were magical. there were things they did that no one else achieved, so I balanced that in my mind. In my own journey, maybe there are incredible times. Maybe there are incredible experiences. Maybe there's low ones and sad ones and boring ones. So I say that to you. How do you find day to day what brings you a sense of success, of security, of saying, I am feeling happy today because there's things I like. There's things that make me feel like, yeah, I love parts of my life, whether it's listening, watching, learning, anything. I wrote TikTok therapy. I think a lot of people are on TikTok, and whatever it all is, it helps them feel better. So I'll leave you with that today. Find your own path, be your own boss, and learn that life loves you, because I feel this is all a learning lesson. And whoever has went through life was able to learn. And I remember that people that struggle really have a hard time, but need to be built up. They need someone looking at them right in the eye saying, you know what? I care about you. You have something to offer this world. You're a wonderful, warm, and incredible person. You have gifts, because every person in the world has incredible gifts. And I think that the world needs all of us in all different ways. I look at nature and how in a jungle there's all different species, and it just works. And even if you're working on your life, keep it up. I would love you to like and subscribe to this video. Also, I have a number of beautiful books, including some bestsellers and some independent ones we want to be bestsellers. They're on Amazon, and we'd like to see them achieve the success as the one that are from major publishers. That's a good long-term goal I'm working on. And finally, we have the Startup Bipolar Online. We do at-home coaching where we support you and work with you. That direct number is 213-304. 9555. That's 213-304-9555. You have a brilliant day, and I wish you well.